is the one and only Stephen A. Smith. That is Brian Windhorst. Markieff Morris on the big screen from down south. And I'm Molly Qerim. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Amazing.
All right.
Had my eggs and berries, and I'm ready to do this.
Right,
Wendy's warmed up. All right, let's get it. On Monday,
You mentioned food. But
the
go ahead.
Pacer. Hey, I don't skip meals, Stephen A., and I'm not ashamed of it. The Pacers confirmed that Tyrese Haliburton suffered a torn Achilles. During the fourth quarter of Game 7 of the NBA Finals, Hallie decided to play despite being diagnosed with a calf strain heading into the game and being informed of the risk of further injury if he chose to play. Hallie had surgery yesterday and released a lengthy statement saying in part, "At 25, I've already learned that God never gives us more than we can handle. I know I'll come out on the other side of this a better man, a better player, and honestly, right now, torn Achilles and all, I don't regret it. I'd do it again and again after that to fight for the city and for my brothers for the chance to do something special." Stephen A., I love that statement. It felt very from the heart.
Yeah.
And he certainly said all the right things, all things that I respect. Do you think Hallie should regret playing in Game 7?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it was a Game 7 with a championship on the line. There isn't an athlete that I've ever met in my life on any level who would say you don't take the chance and you don't play in that particular situation. It's about your teammates. It's about a championship. It's about the city you're representing. It's about you and everything that you dreamed of. Your hope is that you get through it. You don't care what it takes. If you could do anything, there's no athlete that I've ever met, particularly on an elite level, that doesn't believe there is something that they could have done or they could do to help their team win. And if there is something, anything, then you do it. I'll never forget the story that I was told, and I think I saw it in a documentary that was being done, and they were talking about the Knicks when Pat Riley was coaching the Knicks, and Charles Smith was hurt. And while they were having a team meeting before a game, Charles Smith walked in with a suit on. And Pat Riley looked at him and he said, do you think if it was an emergency and it was absolutely necessary that you could give us 2 or 3 or 5 minutes? And he said, yeah. He said, then what the hell are you doing with your suit on? What the hell are you doing with your suit on? 3 to 5 minutes, 2 minutes, it doesn't matter. If you've got...
He has got his contract, thank goodness, over $200 million contract. He's been an all-star. He's been an all-NBA player.
Olympian.
He won a gold medal in the Olympics. He's got his shoe deal, got his own shoe, got his own logo and everything. The only thing he doesn't have in his life is that championship. So the opportunity to play for it, and by the way, one of the biggest heartbreaking things about this whole situation is he was playing great.
Yes.
And you know, the thing about Haliburton that we know is that when he gets off to great starts, he can do anything. Like,
He finishes great.
I hate to even say this, but he might have scored 40 points in this game. Like, I don't, we'll never know, but he had 9 points in 7 minutes. The Thunder were looking a little shaky, okay? It's possible he has a game that is all-time classic. So, I totally get it. And what I would say is this. Tyrese, I know that you did not win this game, and I know that you are facing a long recovery, but you did win something. You won over millions of, bless you.
Thank you.
You won over millions of new fans, because if you didn't know Tyrese Haliburton and the type of player he is and the type of clutch player he is.
You know him now.
You know him now after seeing those shots. The second thing is you won over the respect of everybody in this league, because I'm watching on social media as all of these players are reacting to seeing this moment. And the folks that we work here with here at ESPN, like Markieff and like the NFL players that we just talked to on Get Up, they all respect what you did. And so there may have been this little moment where there was this overrated thing, whatever that poll is. And look, he put a good face on it, but I'm sure he felt a certain way about it. Of course, he had
How could you not?
That wasn't media. That was his own colleagues, his contemporaries who did that to him.
Well, that's
gone.
Over.
That's a great point, Wendy.
So Tyrese may not have gotten the championship, but he made a statement for the rest of his life and the way he handled himself under this situation and over the last 2 months.
Listen, we walking into Game 7. We're doing NBA countdown, and I'm on the air, and I'm saying, I don't want to hear anything anymore about this calf injury, because the way he had looked in 2 games playing with it, he was moving so well. I was like, that don't look like some dude with an injury. I was speaking facetiously, of course, but I was just saying he was moving that well. We all knew he had a calf injury. He had suffered an ankle injury earlier on in the series before the calf injury came to light. And to see him go down like that, obviously it was eerily reminiscent of Kevin Durant against Toronto in the NBA Finals in Game 5. He had missed a couple of games. He had been out, a couple of weeks actually been out, comes into the finals, and he goes out there, and Kevin Durant was putting it in. He was putting in work against Toronto before he went down. He was looking spectacular.
That's right.
And when you saw Tyrese Haliburton and then he went down, that was where the reminder came in. Not just because of the injury and how it happened in the middle, in the middle of action, but how he was playing leading up to that moment that transpired. So again, it's respect. And, ultimately, we want to give all the respect in the world to Oklahoma City, the great season that they had and how they looked. But because of the way Haliburton was playing and the way they started out a little tight, you did find yourself saying, whoa, who knows what could happen in this Game 7. Indiana might win this bad boy. And then he went down and you just said, oh, damn. Because that's how much it hurt, because you want to see him so badly, push them to the limit.
But the positive, Keith, to Wendy's point, and obviously he mentioned in the statement, when you go through adversity, right, you do come back better and stronger, and he's just 25 years old, so plenty of basketball life ahead of him.
Yeah, he has his future ahead of him, man. He gets a chance to, scale it back, actually get a chance to work on his body so this never happens again, because it's a soft tissue injury, so it came from something, right? And just the aspect of the game, man, when Haliburton went down and, the game went the way it went, man, I just think, like I said it the other day, we were kind of cheated out of a classic because the guy was going to work, man. He was literally about to go off. And, playing under those circumstances anyway was just like, it was great to see. So, we just hope the recovery is great, and we just looking for him to come back next year better than ever.
Other thing, too,
100%.
that we all have to remember, Molly, Wendy knows this, Keith knows this. You just brought up he was 25. KD was 30 when he tore his Achilles. And look at how KD looks. Look at how he's been looking over the last several years.
Yeah.
So Haliburton's got plenty of time in his career to recover from this and to reemerge.
Yeah, but it's still devastating. Dame, Tatum, all of them. And we'll get into the injuries and how that affects the West moving forward. But let's get into the victory, and that is the Thunder. So that parade in celebration of winning the NBA championship will be held today in Oklahoma City. Before the parade, the team will gather inside the Paycom Center for a ceremony featuring player speeches and the team hoisting the Larry O'Brien Trophy. The Thunder are the 7th different franchise to win the NBA championship over the last 7 seasons, marking the first time in NBA history that 7 different franchises won the title over a 7-season span. The Thunder are the favorites to repeat at plus 210. Which team is the biggest threat to a Thunder repeat?
I would say there's a bunch of teams in the West, right? You got the Timberwolves that could get better. You got the Lakers. You got the Clippers. You got Denver. You got Houston. Like, I think all those teams are going to be contending, and it's going to be a tough West. You got the Lakers that I thought and a lot of people thought if they was to match up with the Thunder in the playoffs last year that the Lakers would win. I also believe the Clippers had a great matchup with them. And also now you got KD in Houston, so it's wide open as it ever been. I don't think that I think there's a couple teams that will be able to challenge them next year in the Western Conference.
So there's an interesting event happening today, references this question, Molly, and that's in Denver today. They are introducing their new front office. They're going to have co-vice presidents, Ben Tenzer and Wallace. John Wallace is going to be being introduced as co-vice presidents. And I'm very interested to hear from them, because while the one team's having a parade, the team that I think that can really challenge them is the Denver Nuggets because of Nikola Jokic. I have so much respect for them. And let's not forget, they went to 7 games with this championship team this year. And if Aaron Gordon didn't have that hamstring issue, who knows how it might have gone differently. I respect the Thunder, of course. They won it. They deserve it. But this team is close. And quite frankly, over the last couple of years, the Nuggets have not done a good job of maximizing Jokic. And they have allowed several key players to leave. They have now moved on from a championship head coach and a championship-winning general manager. And I want to see what they say about how they're going to improve this team. Because I still think Denver, I mean, I want to be real. Denver's lost 2 7-game series in the last 2 years. I think if they win either of those Game 7s, there's a chance they could have three trophies. because I really respect how good they are. And again, that's not taking away anybody from the East. That's not taking away from the Celtics last year. The only team in the league the Celtics didn't beat last year was the Nuggets. The Nuggets were 2-0 against them. We'll never know what would have happened. But I think a big thing this summer that's an underlooked at thing is Nikola Jokic going to sign his contract extension? He's got 3 years on his contract. There's no real stress. He's never been a player who's ever done anything but sign right away. But if I was Jokic, I would want to be hearing from my front office what we're going to do. I'm watching an arms race in the West. I'm watching teams that are maybe going to finish 7th, 8th, or 9th try to staff up.
I hear you. And if you want to look at the organization, let's be very, very specific. Look at the organization, not the players. Because had you kept Bruce Brown, had you kept Jeff Green, had you kept a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who obviously struggled in Orlando this past year, but had you kept those guys instead of letting them walk out the door, what would have happened to the Denver Nuggets? They may very well have won at least one, if not both, of those Game 7s, okay? Because they've clearly shown they have the ability to do it. Their depth was what we questioned. In terms of what they gave you, in terms of what they're starting five and with Russ, whether he was starting or coming off the bench, depending on which game it was, you looked at them and said that they had some of the pieces, but you questioned their depth and how much you were asking of Nikola Jokic in order to deliver the day. We know what Jamal Murray can do come postseason time. We know what he is. We know what he has shown himself in too many big moments, and you're absolutely right about the health of Aaron Gordon. But since we're bringing that up, if we're going to look at the organization, you got rid of the coach and your GM. So now you're replacing them, and then you got dual individuals. You got two individuals playing a certain position in the front office. Okay, let's see what they do with that. But I'm going to throw out this name, and obviously health predicates everything. We understand that. A healthy Dallas Mavericks would be my answer to this question. Because when I watch OKC over the last 2 years, I watched the Dallas Mavericks take them out in 6 games last year, and then I watched the Dallas Mavericks without Luka 1 game beat the Oklahoma City Thunder this year. When they were rolling against everybody else, they were derailed by the Dallas Mavericks. I'm looking at a Dallas Mavericks squad. We talk about Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. Well, what you gonna do against AD, Anthony Davis, with Lively, okay, with Gafford? What you gonna do when you got to deal with Kyrie, if you Shea and Jay Will and the boys, and Dort? Let's not forget Dort and Caruso. I understand how electric they are defensively. A healthy Kyrie Irving with the ball in his hands, I'd like to see that.
I haven't heard the other name
I'd like
they're going
to
to call
that.
tomorrow night.
Excuse me.
I
Of
was
course.
Cooper.
Cooper Flag.
That's a good answer.
And I was there for all 4 of those games this year.
Well, hold
I
on
was
now.
there for all 4 of those games this year, and Dallas are definitely one of those teams that pushed them to and the player you didn't name was PJ.
Yeah, I was gonna go there, but Wendy chimed in. But I was gonna go with PJ Washington. I was gonna get him. I was gonna mention him.
Really quick though, the 2 teams with the second best title odds are actually the Cavs and the Rockets.
I understand that, but that's because they're healthy and Dallas is not. But if Dallas come back, you better watch out for the Dallas Mavericks.
Do something.
Well, real talk.
Yeah.
The team from the East, if you're in the Eastern Conference right now, you're kicking back and you're ordering a cocktail. Because, the West are beating each other over the head. And the Eastern Conference, because of these Achilles tendon tears, which are crazy, these teams are, the Celtics are scaling down. I don't know what the Pacers are going to do. I don't know if they're going to keep this whole team together and pay the luxury tax. I don't know what the Bucks are going to do because they're scaling down in the East. If the answer to this question, in all honesty, is probably whoever wins the East. Because whoever wins the East might have a much easier road than whoever has to go through the Thunder in the West.
I don't view it that way. I view it as that the tougher the road, the more conditioned you are to deal with adversity come championship round. So that's how I view it.
That sounds good, but when you look at these guys falling down and they're going through these 6-7 game series and you can maybe go through the East a lot easier, it sets you up totally different.
Keith, break the tie on that. What would you say? It's easy. You'd pick someone out of the East just because the path's easier, or would you go West because they're battle tested?
The Thunder lost 1 game to an Eastern Conference team this year. 1 game. It's the teams that's in the West that's going to compete. They can't compete with the East can't compete with the West.